think so. It's good practice.
Okay, now start.
Okay. Hi, my name is Iraklis Grous, and this is Lefteris and Hercules. He's the designer of the game, and we'll be presenting Autokrator to you. It is a medieval-themed game. It's a light Euro war game hybrid that takes place between the 6th and 11th century AD in the Mediterranean basin. On the map you are able to see the 4 empires. There are the Byzantine Empire, the Saracens, the Moors, and the Holy Roman Empire. And as you can see, they each have their areas, which are indicated by the shields, the coat of arms. Each empire has their capital with 3 coats of arms, and they have large cities with 2, and smaller cities with 1. Now, on the map you'll also see, we've prepared the map for you, and you'll have the units. Each empire has the king, each empire has the general, and each empire has the admiral. And each of those units has different strengths and abilities. The admiral obviously moves on the seas, and the general is more maneuverable in battle, and the emperor can also do battle but is less maneuverable. Right, so you'll move on the map and you'll have battles happening between the empires, basically when 2 units meet, for example, or when 2 land units meet also. And it is the battle system of this game that is quite interesting. For example, let's assume the Byzantines are attacking the Saracens in Sidon. So you'll have the general of the Byzantines, which is here. So you will take those units which you have allocated during the beginning of the round. The card representing the general is face up, and then the 2 cards are face down out of the 8 cards that are set. And then the attacker proposes 2 different terrains to the defender, basically according to the strengths that their army has. For example, in this case, the general would probably pick the plains, and they will probably pick an ambush to happen. And out of those 2, the defender picks the 1. And then this game is very interesting because there is a very comprehensive system where each side has a portion of their 50,000 strong army to attack the other units. So, for example, in this case, he's battling against the king. The defender proposes the 2 terrains according to how well their units can take advantage of the ground, the field of battle, and then out of those 2, the defender picks 1. So if the attacker had picked plains and ambush, the defender would choose what their highest rating is in that respect. So in ambush they have 4, 2, and 2, so a total of 8, and in plain they have 2, 1, and 5, so a total of 8. So it's the same thing. So they would pick one of those 2. They would, let's say, they pick the plains. The armies must be mixed, by the way. They need to have different units. And then the battle is actually very simple yet comprehensive. It combines the size of the army and the quality of the army and how well they can use the terrain that they're fighting in. And Lefteris will talk more about the battle specifically.
For example, the general have some experience on the battle. We can see it in the track live, that if have 4 lives, then have 1 less experience in the battle. So this less experience must indicate with this token in one of his cards. Then this card that he chooses strategically have less 1 battlefield fighting point modifier in this card. In the example of the king, we see the kings of the generals that have 0 fighting points. Okay, so he cannot put any modifier on the battle. So let's see the resolution of the battle. First, the attacker puts his 3 cards secretly in any order that he wants, and puts the fighting point, the token fighting point where he will. This card suffer 1 point, okay, in the battle, and the defender after put his cards face down, opposite to the resolution of the battle is a fight between the opposing cards. The terrain is, for example, the plain. Okay, so we see that in a plain we make the resolution of the battle.
For example, the cavalry, which works very well on the plain, attacks the infantry, and as is logical, they overtake them and they win this fight. So we moved it towards there. That's a point for the Saracens. And we'll repeat that for the other units. So this has -1 on the plain, so it's at 4, but it's still better than the opposing infantry, so that's a point for them. And then the mercenaries and the archers fight also on the plain, and the archers are also better there. So that's 2-1 so far.
Of course, the battle resolution is continuous. We must see the army of the total of army. The Byzantines have 6,007, 11,000 army. The Saracens have 11th and 14,000. Okay, so this gives a point to the Saracens. The score becomes 2-2. And in the last stage we have end the training scale. Byzantines have 3 swords. Okay,
2, 0, and 1, so 3. Yep.
And the Saracens have 4 swords. So the score became 3-2.
And the Saracens win the battle.
The Saracens win the battle. So the general of the Byzantines must remove, goes back, and the king remains in his territory.
If he had been successful, the king would have to retreat, and then the Byzantine general would lay siege on Sidon, for example. And then the strategic game is what drives the tactical game. There's also some diplomacy that you use the money for, the treasury of each country, and conquering other cities gives you more points and money.
In the case that the general loses and goes back, then loses a life in the life track with this token, and earns extra experience in the next battle.
So basically, this is the game. It's played over 5 rounds. It lasts about 90 minutes. Let's say at a maximum, and it also comes with a mini expansion that adds some units for the neutral units, because this is how battle happens in the areas controlled by each empire, and then there are some neutral units that are resolved with these 6 cards that is controlled by the next player. And the battle system is exactly the same, but there's no units there's no leaders in the base game, but they are added with the expansion. So they are less strong than the professionally trained units of the organized armies.
And before the beginning of every round, we have the historical reference of the game that gives extra orders on the game.
And you can, of course, read this and learn it, but the important parts are bolded for the function of the game. And in the back of the rules, there's even more historical background for those interested in it.
Are you a teacher?
No.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
No, I'm not. Glad you liked it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What website is it on?
Oh.